Hello, everyone. Welcome to WordFunk. I'm Leon Thomas. I'm joined by Austin Yorsky and Johnny Maloney. I've just returned, well, not just returned, but like a couple days ago, returned from Canada, where I went to ConBravo.
Nice place.
And that is, it is.
I've been there.
I'm sure. Specifically, I was in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, which is fine.
I have also been there.
Yeah.
There's such a disparity in energy. Leon sounds like he can barely hold his head up, and Johnny's about to fucking drop kick this show out the window.
No, man, like,
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Hamilton. It's
okay.
As just like, you know, it's hardly the greatest example of Canadian mixture, and
I heard it's racist. Is that what you're trying to say? It's racist?
No, is it racist? I have no idea if it's racist or not.
I have actually heard a story of someone who went there for college and they experienced racism, but I don't know how representative that is.
It's pretty small town as far as Canada is concerned, although that's not really saying much because most of Canada is pretty small town.
Yeah, I have a couple of stories about Hamiltonians.
Not that, hang on, I just want to, like, lay this on you guys for a second right here. Not that, like,
Daddy.
America is a bustling metropolis of educated acceptance and love and willingness to just understand.
No, it's like 20 lit cities and then like it's just a bunch of corn and alligators.
Yeah, so we're like maybe like 8 lit cities and then
Moose.
No, well, I mean it depends where you go.
Yeah.
Oh.
Leon, are you a sleepy boy?
No, I feel fine.
All right,
Okay, you
so
sound
Leon,
sleepy.
tell me about the Hamiltonians. And
Okay,
was this year?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so a couple things.
Because
I'll talk about.
I just gotta say, I really love it when Americans get the chance to dunk on Canadians.
Okay.
Because we deserve it in a lot of ways.
Okay.
So give it,
fine. It's fine.
sock it to me, baby.
Okay, before I talk about just how much fun I had at the convention, I do want to talk about 2 encounters I had with people who live in Hamilton. Johnny, in the past. And just let me get this whole thing out.
Now, is this like the near past, or?
Oh my God! It doesn't really matter. Just hang on.
Leon, I don't know why you keep showing up week after week, not knowing that I'm gonna do my bit. Because Leon,
I know.
let me tell you something.
I know.
I'm gonna do my bit.
Okay. Several times in the course of our friendship, you've mentioned that the penny is not really a thing in Canada, and I know that to be a fact. It is no longer in circulation, and that's fine.
Yes.
That's not really what I'm going to talk about. It is what I have. But it is also my understanding, based on the fact that people gave me change after I gave them a $5 bill. Is that all the other coins are in circulation?
Yes.
People have in fact, all of your $1 and $2 bills are not bills. They're just coins, and that's fine. You have loonies and toonies, and you have nickels and dimes and quarters, just like we do, and people use them.
Yep.
Here's a thing that I want to know that maybe I misunderstood, like a cultural thing about coins. Mm-hmm. And I as the only Canadian on the show, I'm guessing I'm giving it to you to answer for me.
Okay.
So I went when I go to Canada, I go to the bank and exchange my cash for their cash, and it's fine. And usually what I try to do is not have a bunch of Canadian coins and bills on when I come back to America, because I can't use them, and it's just easier for me to spend what I had. So I on my last day there, the last full day there, I went to lunch with a bunch of people, colleagues and friends, and the bill came, And I did like some calculations, and I was like, okay, so I like add like roughly 15% to this. And I said, okay, here's some fives and here's some toonies, and that covers it. And I was like, oh, I have like quarters and like a couple dimes in my pocket. I'll just also add that to the tip because she was nice. And I'm not going to need them anyway, so why would I? And it ended up being like another $1.25.
That sounds nice. That sounds reasonable to me.
Okay, cool. So we're all the same page so far. Now, I put the bills on the table, and the toonies in one pile, and then like the quarters and like a dime or whatever in like a smaller pile.
All right, no, that's not how you do it.
Oh, okay. Tell me.
No, you put the bills down, and then the change goes on top of the bills.
That's what I said.
Okay, I'm sorry. It sounded like you separated them.
No. I'm not saying like two a different like.
Yeah,
I'm
saying... it was one pile, paper down, and then minerals.
Yeah, there's the paper is down. There's toonies on the paper, and also some quarters on the paper.
Right. Okay.
Although it's not paper, it's like whatever. It doesn't matter.
It's
plastic
because
yeah, I know.
Canada's in the fucking future.
I know you have future money. It's very cool.
We do. It's awesome.
So anyway, I put the money down, and she came over, and I was like, "This is all yours. It's all yours." Most of the other people at the tables were paying by cards, and some people paid by cash.
Yeah.
And she took it, but she would not take my quarters and dimes. She says, I don't want this. Someone else can have it. And I've never experienced a server who ever turned down money before.
Oh, well.
So
now,
I have two. There are two possibilities here. One is she, for whatever reason, didn't feel like it inexplicably, or she doesn't like small change, or something.
Which is ridiculous because it's one of the best Tom Waits albums of all time.
And speaking as someone who in the past, and since Johnny loves specificity or whatever, it was not the recent past. I've had jobs that relied on tips. When people would give me anything, I'd be taking that shit. I'm not going to say that's ridiculous to not to do it. So I was confused, and I wondered if this was a Canadian thing that I misunderstood, or what. Or if I'm just not going to have an answer to this. So, Johnny, if you have an answer to this that is specific to Canada, cool. But if you don't, then it's not cultural, and it's just I had an odd interaction, and I'm just not going to have an answer.
I do, actually.
Tell me all about it.
It's a two-prong answer. The first one
God.
is that in America, I believe...
Yep. That's where I'm from.
Food servers...
Yeah.
aren't necessarily upheld to minimum wage.
That is true. People who work jobs in which there are tips, they technically don't make minimum wage on their paycheck, but they get around this by saying that the tips add up, and there's a bunch of other legal loophole bullshit that allows restaurants and whatnot to do this.
Yeah,
that is true.
In Canada, everybody makes minimum wage.
Yeah. I assumed that you guys were better than us at everything. So
we have there are some weird there are weird little caveats. I don't know if this is still in existence, but the last conservative government that we had did a thing where they decided that somebody who had less than 2 years of job experience could a company could hire them for less money until they had 2 years of experience. And they cloaked this in the idea of young people need job experience, so this is going to be a way for kids who don't have job experience to get experience. But we learned very quickly that what a lot of companies were doing is hiring kids for 2 years, letting them go, and then hiring new kids. And it was gee, man, If only
Yeah.
somebody saw a fucking loophole.
Yeah. So, but how is this related to the fact that this woman did not want all of my money?
Well, this is the second prong of attack, is that the Canadian dollar is not worth a hell of a lot.
Okay.
So there comes a certain point in time where you look at change and say, that's just extra weight.
Okay,
Like,
all right, I guess so.
every-
But I never think of change that way, even in Canada, when I know it's like a little different.
Neither do I. But even when Canada eliminated the penny, I had arguments against it, in the sense that, like, the people who eliminated the penny said, well, it costs more to make a penny than a penny is actually worth, so we should stop
Okay.
it. And I was like, okay, that's not how money works, because every single time a penny changes hands, a portion of that penny, like mathematically, theoretically, economically, returns back to the state. And it was like, okay, so a penny really only has to change hands X amount of times before it pays for itself.
Oh, I see.
Because it's all about tax, right? Like,
I'm not an economist, but I guess what you're saying makes sense.
well, every time you pay somebody, tax comes from it, right?
Right, sales tax, right.
So,
I get what you're saying.
So
now.
I give you a penny in whatever transaction, and then that penny goes somewhere to somebody else who gives that penny to somebody else, and it's like, oh, okay, well, it slowly earns its value up. I wanted just like penny production to ramp down.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, let's deal with what we have right now. But I mean,
I can't believe we've been talking for 12 minutes about the fact that a lady didn't take your quarters. This is fucking madness.
Austin,
this
is cultural relations here, okay?
I
If you want to shit on Canada, you go right ahead. Because I shit on Florida quite a lot, actually, now that I think about it. So,
Yeah.
Johnny, I appreciate you saying this, because I was really worried, like, for hours following this, that I had offended a Canadian.
no!
Leon
just-
Anxiety Disorder Thomas.
It was not enough effort for her to keep the coins, to find a
Okay.
place to spend it, and also the fact that she's actually getting paid real minimum wage, which, let's be clear, is not a living wage,
Sure.
but is actually better in Canada.
Okay. That actually makes a lot of sense to me now. I just, I get serious Catholic guilt about everything that I do. If I don't know for sure I didn't do anything wrong. I have another story where I definitely did not do anything wrong and someone else thought I did, where I don't feel bad about it at all, although I did find it an odd experience. And that's next. So I want to do that.
At the end of this one, Leon, every single time I
yeah.
come home from any excursion in which I have change in my wallet, it gets emptied out into a jar. And that's where all my nickels and my dimes and my quarters go. I keep loonies and toonies because sometimes
they're good.
you need to rent a shopping cart.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I do the same thing. I exchange my my coins eventually when there's enough for, it to be like $10 or $20.
All right. Story 2.
Okay.
The Reckoning.
Story 2. This is going to be a far more, I guess, exciting story, but it is also the story where I know I didn't do anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what happened. On my way out of Hamilton.
So like driving out of the city back to your home.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, when I left on my way out of Hamilton, I pulled into a gas station, and the gas station has the little entrance ramp thing by the sidewalk, as all stores do. And someone was standing on the sidewalk, not on the ramp, of course, because that would be dangerous.
Yeah.
But on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And I And I pulled in and went to the pump. And I got out, and I noticed that the man followed me. So I was like, what's about to happen here? I'm curious. So I get out of my car with no sense of any danger. And I don't remember all of the exact words he said, but I will, like, paraphrase. He says, "Hey, fuck you. Fuck you, man. You almost ran me over." And I said, "No, I didn't. I didn't even come close to you. You're on the..." And as I tried to say, you were on the sidewalk and I was on the ramp. I was, like, at least a car length away from you. But I couldn't get a lot of these words out because he kept saying, "Well, fuck you. I live here, okay? I live here." And I know, and then he said, and I kept trying to not interrupt him, but, like, explain what's going on. Now, at this moment, you might think that I was either nervous or gearing up for a fight, but I actually just stood there, like, surprisingly calmly, because it was just so weird that this was happening. And I said, I tried to interrupt, and I said, "Sir, with all due respect," and what I was about to say right after "with all due respect" was, "Sir, with all due respect, I didn't even come close to you, so I'm not sure why you're shouting abuse at a complete stranger at a gas station in 9 a.m. But what actually came out was, "Sir, with all due respect," and then he shouted, "No! No respect! No! No respect!" And I just stood there, like, not even wide-eyed, just, like, curious about this creature. And he kept going on. He said the term junkie asshole, but in his, like, furor, I wasn't sure whether he was saying, because I think he was, like, saying that I looked down on him at some point. So I wasn't sure if he was saying that, "Oh, you think I'm just a junkie asshole," or he said I was a junkie asshole. Between the two of us, let's be clear. Between the two of us, only one of us looked like a junkie asshole, and it wasn't me. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about this guy.
Leon, you would be surprised. Junkie assholes are, like, kind of a universal look.
Here's what I should have said. If I had actually been able to get a word in edgewise was, "Sir, not only did I not even come close to you, I think I may have discovered why I may have startled you by turning into a gas station, which is what people are supposed to do with a gas station. You're wearing dark sunglasses early in the morning, and you probably can't see things."
Okay, what time was it? I gotta know now.
It was, like I said, it was like 9 a.m. It wasn't, like, dark, but it was not the time. It was not noon when you. It wasn't so bright that he needed dark sunglasses.
Right.
I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Right. It was a personal issue.
Right. He was doing whatever he needed to do with his sunglasses. But anyway, he turned to walk away, and I said, "Well, if you won't let me talk, then I can't help you." And then he said, "I don't want your help. Well, fuck you." And I'm like, wow, this is a lot. Whatever is happening right now is a lot. And I started to think, maybe this isn't about me. Maybe he doesn't like...
That was when you started to think that?
I don't know, because I couldn't figure out... I kept trying to interrupt to explain, "Sir, like, I literally could not have... I didn't come even close to you. If we had had a near miss and I almost had a collision with you, even if you were completely okay and because there was no collision, I would feel terrible about it. Because as a previous... I carry around a lot of... If I even almost do something bad... It bothers me a long time. But that's not what happened. So I was just very curious about what was going on. And he started to walk away. And again, I said, "Sir, if you don't let me talk, I can't help you." And he refused to let me get words out, which is usually an indicator that he may know that he's wrong. But, like, whatever. So he walked away, and I said, "I have a nice day, I guess." or something. I can't even remember what I said. It was not impolite. I never said anything mean to this guy as he was shouting like horrible obscenities at me. Because you would think I would be offended, but it was just weird that it was happening in my face.
At 9 o'clock in the morning.
At a gas station in Hamilton. Like, this is not what I expected that my day to be. So I stood there for a couple more seconds, and I looked over. And there's an older gentleman who was just minding his own business, who undoubtedly overheard the whole thing because he was in the pump right next to mine, or across from mine.
Yeah.
I just looked over and was like, sorry, how are you this morning? And he just kind of like guffawed, like he was like, well, better than you. And we shared a laugh, and then I got my gas and I got out of there. That's the story. I want to make it clear. I definitely did not hit this person or even come close. But he was convinced. And as I said, I feel like a lot of this was not about me. I feel like a lot of this is about the fact that this person may have to deal with an influx of tourists to his city at this exact moment every year. And maybe because, like, I'm a foreigner, he didn't appreciate my being there. So, like, maybe none of this had to do with anything that I was doing.
Nah.
But I guess
Leon,
I'm, like, much... Right.
Do you want to know a secret?
Tell me.
The reason why Canadians are so polite is because we just fucking brawl at gas stations all around the country at any chance we get. It's just like somebody gets out wearing the wrong color shoes, and it's like, orange, motherfucker! Oh, let's go!
The thing is, he didn't even want to fight me. Like, none of our interactions had anything to do with the possibility that this might be about to become physical.
No, that's because you didn't step up like a Canadian at a gas station would do. Like, it's a cultural thing. Do you see those, like, Planet Earth bits where, like, birds kind of, like, dance at each other, and they're like, yeah, okay, we're the same species. That's the Canadian thing.
The thing is, when I fear someone might be about to do something to me, like, I in the past have, walked the streets of Baltimore many, many times. And, sometimes someone will come up to me, either in the afternoon or late at night, and will, kind of give me a look, and I wouldn't square up, but I'll tense a little, like thinking, oh, it might just happen, but it doesn't. In this case,
you've obviously never been in a Canadian fight.
Yeah, but in this case,
because there's a lot of build-up. There's a lot of like mannerisms that have to be met. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to use the right salad fork. You have to order the right coffee from Tim Hortons.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to have certain feelings about poutine.
Yeah.
And then, say A to each other several times in escalating but variable ways.
Oh my god. But I never, felt threatened that this was about to become, an actual fight. And I'm not, super strong or anything, I wasn't threatened by him. I mean, this
he
felt
wasn't
like
being
he
threatening.
He wanted to shout loudly.
Yeah.
I felt like he was really into that. And that is what he wanted to do at this time.
No,
because
in all honesty, it just sounds to me like you met a guy on a day when he was pretty fucked up.
Yeah, if he wanted to hit me, he could have just done that from the beginning. So it didn't seem like that's what was happening. So I was just stood there, not even feeling, too worried, just, trying to calmly explain to him that he is definitely wrong. But I couldn't even get a word in edgewise. And then I left and came home. But the convention itself, I'll just say quickly, because there's not, weird cultural confusion stories. There was just, I had a good time.
I'm having fun. I mean, Austin.
Oh, good.
Austin is probably just sweating and dying, but
yeah. he can be forgiven for just chilling during this. I understand. But yeah, the convention itself was fun. I go to ConBravo every year. This is my 5th year at ConBravo. Every year I am some kind of guest or featured panelist or whatever they want to call it.
I saw a photo of you with Nash and Rentasmo.
Yeah.
And I was like, aw, jealous.
Yeah. I was basically, I had a few things to do. I was the host of the panel where it was me and 9 other YouTubers. I was one of them, but I was also like the moderator because I submitted the form, I guess. And we had a good time. People asked a lot of mostly polite questions. One of them had like an intense question about like what will happen when you guys get older, and some YouTubers pass on, and I'm like, well, I'll probably do the same thing as I would do if I had some other job. I would keep doing it until I retire. And other people will come along as well. And so that was a weird one. But once that was done, and I said, so now that we're done the death question, and then, but no, it actually spawned a lot of meaningful conversation. And everyone was really cool. Later that day, a few hours later, we did an autograph session with the exact same people, but in a different room. And people came up and, we signed autographs and stuff. And that was cool. I went to Diamanda Hagen's and the Omega Geeks Cards Against Humanity live game. I went thinking I would be in the audience, but I got there and some of the other people who were supposed to be on it had not been secured.
Oh, you got
for some
pulled
reason.
up on stage, did you?
Yeah. The Omega Geek, who is a friend of mine, just walked up to me and says, "Hey, Leon, do you want to be on the panel? We need someone else." I'm like, "Yeah, of course." So I played Cards Against Humanity in front of I wouldn't say a packed room, but like a lot of people. And it was me and Hagen and a woman named Super Butterbuns, who I hung out with a bit more later, and she seems nice. And the Omega Geek was like the MC, and we brought some like audience members to like participate with us, and we all had a good time. The one other panel that I knew I was actually going to be on was one hosted by the Dom, the guy who does Lost in Adaptation. He and myself and Kaluna and Nash, we were all judges on like a competition to see who could make the best pitch for what the Dom's next episode would be in sort of like a Shark Tank kind of way.
Yeah.
So and people actually were really into it. They came up with like presentations, and one had kind of like a performance. Hers was the best. She ended up winning because I gave her high marks, and I think a lot of people did. She pitched an idea for a television series that's like an adaptation of like some books. And in the television series, there's like a shapeshifter character, and you can always tell that this is a false character and actually just the shapeshifter, because he always has you can always see he has green on him or something. So she came to the presentation wearing green, and then towards the very end she recognized this, ran out of the room, came back wearing a different costume, says, "Hey guys, sorry I'm late," as if she were the shapeshifter, and I howled with laughter, and I was like, okay, I mean, clearly this is the best performance. So she ended up winning the whole thing, and that's cool. And I had a good time and took pictures with her and some other people, and that was nice. Most of the I attended a couple other panels. Like the Omega Geek is very, very smart. She's like a psychologist, and she did like a whole thing about Steven Universe and the psychology of a lot of different things. And I also went to a pub quiz, and my team won. It was me and Linkara and my friend Katie and a few people that I don't know too well, because sometimes you're just on a team with people you don't know. But they all pulled their weight, and we ended up winning. I knew what I brought to the table was I can usually tell what a movie is after seeing the first 15 seconds of it, and that was a part of the competition. So that's a thing. I won a little dealie, and that is mostly what I did, like, in terms of the convention. The rest of the time I was just hanging out with my friends, and we watched movies and played, like, Jackbox games. And that was nice to be able to socialize with people and my peers. Yeah, it was a good time. I feel like I've talked a lot in this episode already, so I'll probably shut up now. But
talk
to
me, Austin.
Yeah, Austin, what's going on in your life?
Right now it is storming outside, so if I sound weird or bad or the call drops, that's what's going on there. Also, why I wasn't going to try to interrupt during all that, because I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yep.
I can hear you. Yeah, you're not Robo at all.
That is dope. All right, so I have probably 125 things on the sticky note. Do you guys want to hear about a bunch of video games, or you want to talk about the new season of Orange is the New Black? Because that's what I watched this week.
All I did was play video games. I haven't hit Orange is the New Black yet, so...
I'm 2 episodes in, so, like, I guess that's a thing we might do next week.
Yeah, okay, we'll save
Sorry.
that. So, video games, I can talk about a couple of them real quick, just, like, blow through them, because I don't have that much to say, and I don't think you guys have played them. One is called Bound. It's kind of a walking simulator where you alternate between playing a pregnant woman on a beach and, I guess, like, a stylized version of her memories. Like, she was...
So it's not about the Wachowski film?
No.
That's disappointing.
I feel like you say that about most films. Wachowskis didn't do this one, huh? That's disappointing. So the actual gameplay is this part where you're playing this version of her memories where she was younger and she was a dancer and she had like family drama and it's all abstract. The game kind of builds itself around you as you dance through the levels. It's a very cool effect. I highly recommend looking up some gameplay. It's just really cool, but that's basically all there is to the game. It's kind of like a walking simulator through this lady's story. I
don't mind walking simulators. Fucking De-Resser made me cry. I made that public.
Yeah, I mean, listen, for me it's not derisive. For some people it is. Gone Home, 10 out of 10, game of the year. Mwah, chef kiss.
Hell yeah!
I just want to say that is what the game is. It's you walk as an abstract version of a woman's story is kind of told to you. And so if you're not into that...
It's almost like stories are like shitty or something like that. No,
I appreciate a good story. It's a very specific thing. It's like, I don't know, 2-3 hours long, and it's fucking crazy looking. I can't express it. You just have to see it.
You played that on PS4?
Yeah, it was a PS Plus game. I try not to say free because you pay for PS Plus, but it was a game you get for having a PS Plus subscription a couple months ago. So I finally got around to playing that. Similarly, Rime, R-I-M-E, like Rime of the Ancient Mariner.
Ooh, I've kept my eyes on that.
Yeah, I played that. It's another kind of, it's more puzzle-centric than Walking Simulator, but it is it's like the archetypical indie game where it's like, you're a young boy who washes up on a beach and there's this hostile world and you don't really know what's going on and there's a lot of puzzles to solve as you figure out a story with no dialogue and there's a small animal helper. It's just like a combination of like Journey and Limbo and like, you know, all of those games. Like if you were just making some kind of indie game stew, right? It has all of those elements. But it's actually better than that sounds. Like it's really good. I enjoyed it a lot. The main mechanic is kind of so you like walk up to things, right? And you can kind of like make a noise. It's almost like it's exactly like the Journey ping that you do to activate stuff. But there's also things where you can use your perspective to make things connect, which it's hard to explain. But like you're looking at a statue. And you have to change the way the camera looks so that it makes a door with something in the background. So like the foreground and the background become one thing. It's wild. You kind of have to see it. That's 2 games in a row. You just have to just see it. It's fine. But it's a beautiful game. It has all of that good artistic ambiguity you crave. All those children in danger vibes that people love from like Inside and Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons and all that. I remember when I saw the game at E3 for the first time, I was like, oh, damn, this is the new big thing. Everyone's going to talk about this game. And then it came out with, like, no fanfare. I don't even remember, like, how it was reviewed. Maybe, are we burnt out on whimsical indie games about children in danger with puzzles?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, we're not burnt out about Nazis or zombies or zombie Nazis.
That's true. It's just like, have you seen the Steam new releases? Like, there's just hundreds of new games every day. I don't know how anything gets discovered.
Yeah, but you know how many of them are visual novels that are like casual adventure Nudity.
I actually don't know, because I know there was some kind of nudity crackdown, but that mostly applied to Japanese games.
Okay, wait. No, you didn't hear that Steam... This was like weeks ago.
No, so there was the first crackdown, then they backpedaled, and now there's like a soft kind of curation going. It's like a complicated thing that I can't really speak to with too much authority.
When did you hear about a soft curation thing?
Like over the last couple of weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
From
I don't
where?
know.
Because I heard in the last couple of weeks that we had two games that had been
Bitcoin
accused
miners
of actually being Bitcoin miners that were like, slipped in Trojan viruses and shit like that, and Steam let them come through for months. One of them came out in March. It's fucking August.
Yeah. And there are games that have been uploaded with no EXEs in them at all. Just no game. It's a wild thing over there. But yeah, I don't know. I don't follow it too closely. I just know I follow people on Twitter who talk about the Steam being hostile to the kind of games they make. Yang. What's his name? Do you remember? The guy...
Robert Yang.
Yeah, like those kind of games. And you know what? It's more specifically not nudity. It's like homosexuality specifically.
Yeah.
So I don't know if any of Robert Yang's games are on Steam, or if he's tried recently. But like those are the kind of
I don't know if he
conversations.
has. I do not know if he has, but I know that like all of the shit that he did, all the games that he did beforehand, were in this sort of region of, we can't allow that, we can't allow that, and then like one fucking day they're like, whatever, regulate yourselves.
Yeah. So Steam is the thing right now. Speaking of homosexuality and visual novels, I played a new visual novel called Heaven Will Be Mine by the same people who made the game We Know the Devil. Have either of you heard of either of those games?
You have told me about the previous.
Yeah. So We Know the Devil came out a couple of years ago. It's a visual novel about queer kids at a summer camp, and they hear the voice of the devil on the radio. It's very creepy and very good. It's the main mechanic of it was you decide which of the two kids in this group of three hang out, and the third one gets ostracized and kind of seduced by the devil, as it were. And stuff happens, very spooky. But also, it's about social dynamics and the alienation of queerness in hegemonic straight culture, and just growing up and finding yourself and sexuality. It's a very interesting game. It's this new one, Heaven Will Be Mine, is not a direct sequel, but there's a lot of like subtextual overlap, if that makes sense. Like some of the characters are mirrors of characters of that. The game is a game, as like mecha as in Gundam, so there's people in space and giant robots fighting. Once again, all queer women. The main mechanic of this one...
I like it that you hit a Gundam immediately, and not like Macross. Because I know you, Austin.
There's one of the characters literally quotes Gundam in it, so it's not. This isn't so much a me thing as it is the game thing. But in this game,
let's get down with the. Let's get down with the queer Gundam. Come on!
I love queer Gundams. So the main mechanic in this one is that you kind of decide who wins each fight. So you can play from the perspective of any of the three girls, and they meet up over the story, and you kind of decide which one wins, which decides how the story plays out. But it's not so much about fighting or stories as it is about their personalities and their dynamics. And there's this like running metaphor about gravity, both literally as in a thing generated by mass, and about the gravity of culture, which humans create and which holds us down in a way. I don't want to get like too far into like plot events because it's a visual novel. You can beat it in like 2 hours if you're a fast reader. But the music in both of them is incredible. Deliberately very abrasive. Especially We Know the Devil. Like it's like I would compare it to It Follows, that soundtrack, where it feels like you're being attacked sometimes.
Not attacked. All right.
Followed.
It Follows is stalking.
Yeah, it's very creepy.
Like it's a lingering. All right, never mind.
Continue. I listen to that soundtrack in isolation, like just by itself sometimes, just because it's just like, I want to feel very uncomfortable for a couple minutes, so I'm just gonna jump in here for a bit.
Austin, we have to talk about you one of these days privately, but go on.
issues. So yeah, Heaven Will Be Mine is the name of that game again. It's a very interesting. This is gonna sound mean, but I love it. It's very pretentious. There's a lot of people being like, yes, space. Space is the culture. The space between people, where we make meaning and love. It's like something I would write, but not show anybody. But I love it, and it's very cool.
No. You're a better writer than that. I can say this as somebody who has participated in one of your D&D campaigns. You're doing just fine. So.
I'm exaggerating. The writing is actually very good and very funny and very sweet and very gay. All very cool things. So I'm just working my way through this list of games I played over the last couple weeks. I never get to all of them, so I'm just going to keep going ahead. I played the new God of War. My brother's friend lent it to us, so we both played through it. I'm surprised.
I hear it's very good.
Yeah, it's very good in a lot of predictable ways. It's a big budget AAA game. It looks very good. The graphics are good. Here's my professional IGN review. The graphics are good. It does that very BioShock Infinite Last of Us thing where it's like the story of a dad who kills a lot of people and his child who he wants to protect from all the killing he has to do because it's a video game. But my favorite thing, of course, is the mythology. As everyone knows, they've moved from Greek to Norse, and it's very faithful in a lot of ways, but the few ways it departs are very interesting because you have to ask yourself, why did they depart here? What does it say about the direction of the series going forward? How does it tie into the themes? Because it's a game about a father-son relationship, so you have to look at, like, how does Thor treat his children? How does the children of the giant Ymir reflect that kind of inherent violence in the father-son relationship dynamic? There's Balder and his parent. It's actually surprising how many Norse characters don't show up. It's almost spoilers to say which ones do and don't. But you think going into it, it's like, oh, Odin, Thor, the Marvel characters. And none of them show up on screen.
Freya?
Going down a checklist is going to be spoilers. It's hard to talk about this game because there's a very, very big moment halfway through where everything changes. It's like talking about Sorry to Bother You, almost, where it's like, I can talk about it up to a point, and after that, it's just a different thing, and it ruins the entire experience to talk about it. So,
got it.
The combat's fine, right? Like, I could quibble about how it has like too much crafting and too much upgrading and stuff. Whatever, I don't care. It's fine. The map is a little janky, like quibbles. Save it for the YouTube comment section. The game is very good from a production standpoint. It's like among the best possible on console with like The Last of Us and Uncharted 4. I think the themes it goes for are some of the most successful of this kind of game, like the BioShock Infinite, which I feel really dropped the ball, and The Last of Us, which mostly works as long as you realize that Joel is a piece of shit. Here, it's complicated, and they make some really interesting choices. And I can't wait to see where it goes, because they could fuck it up so bad, or I think it could pay off. Because Kratos is a bad person. He knows it. The game acknowledges it. And they try to make him grow. And I think if you don't think people can change, it can come off insulting. As someone who has changed a lot, I think it's a good message. But
Austin, do you think for a second that maybe people who are disappointed with The Last Jedi can't just seem to realize that, like, maybe Luke Skywalker has become a different person in, I don't know, a few decades?
It's very easy to dunk on Last Jedi haters, but I've seen people who I really respect and appreciate and who I think are smart, insightful people say that, like, God of War doesn't deserve to redeem Kratos, that he can't be redeemed because he was bad before. And it's disappointing to me.
Like, no argument here. I'm just
yeah.
There's just a common ground somewhere there.
Yeah. If you get anything from listening to me podcast over the almost, 8 years I've been doing this, please understand that people can change. It's the only true thing I know at this point. So I think it's a valid story to tell. There's some other things about it, like the whole God of War original trilogy hinges on the fact that his wife and child were fridged, and like he goes on this revenge rampage, right? That's the premise of the original God of War story. And this game begins with his new wife's funeral. It's like just any woman in this series is just fridged on contact. Like, she does not get a line of dialogue. It's pretty rough. And there's only one woman with a speaking part. And, like, I get it. It's a game about fathers and sons, but I think it's a pretty big missed opportunity. And, like, there's stuff. Like, I understand why they made the choice. It's much like I said about Deadpool 2 and the choice they made to fridge a character there. Where, like, I see why you did it. I just wish you had made other choices and tried something else. But that's more of a preference thing than a quality thing. The quality is pretty unimpeachable. Although I would have liked some more big boss fights. A lot of the boss fights are just reskins of the same troll, which kind of sucks. But the couple of boss fights that are there are good. Another thing, after I finished the game, and I was so jazzed on the story, because it ends with a twist I didn't see coming, which is very rare for me. I was like, oh yeah, they got me. Hell yeah, I love being tricked. I rushed out to listen to some spoiler casts from video game journalists I like, and it was incredibly frustrating. I hate this about myself, but I found it incredibly aggravating to listen to people not understand Norse mythology. It's just like, how do you not know the difference between the Aesir and the Vanir? What are you talking about? They explain...
Because they've never been to fucking...
Yeah? Where have they not been, John? I need to know.
Religious university?
Yeah, that's where I went. No, I actually
you didn't go there, alright.
No, I actually didn't study Norse at all. I was...
Seriously?
No, strictly Bible. Strictly Judeo-Christianity. This is just a thing I've done in my free time. But the game does explain everything you need to know. So at a certain point...
So for fun.
Yes, for fun. That is my version of fun. It blows my mind the way people consume art. I talked about this before in The Last Jedi when there's that scene where the sound drops out and some people were perplexed by it. And I was like, can't you just let it wash over you and just like enjoy it and take it in? And then I'm listening to these podcasts and it's just like people who just... They said this, they explained it. Like a character says, this goes back to this thing where Odin did this thing. Here's how it works. And then the people in the podcast are like, I don't understand how it works. I'm just like, they said it. You played the game, they said it. I don't know. I don't like that part of myself who gets weirdly pedantic. It feels like I'm a bad YouTube comment sometime. I'm like, no. Actually.
Austin, I'm not attacking you. I'm just trying to... I've never played this game.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to provide a question for you to answer, and you've answered it.
Mm-hmm. What was the question? What was the answer, Johnny? I'm in suspense.
No, the question was like, okay, well, these guys didn't understand it, but you've been to a college, you've been to university that studies religion, and you're like, nah, I didn't study that. And I'm like, oh. Okay. So you just paid attention.
Yeah. I feel like people should just pay more attention in general, but at a certain point, I'm the asshole for being too serious about this stuff, so...
No?
No?
No. I mean, if people fucking criticize a thing, a game, a movie, a book, anything that has the information they need to actually understand it... Fuck them.
Maybe. The last thing I want to say, though, is I feel like Marvel has poisoned people's understanding of Norse mythology. There's a lot of miscommunications with people who played this game where they are like, I thought blank was like this. And it's like, that's just a comic book, dog. That's not how it is. Yeah. Also, you could just Google it. It's on there. The whole thing's on the Google. Anyway. Last game I played, and then I will let Leon back out of his cage. He's going to come out of his cage, and he's going to be doing just fine. I played a game called The Yawg. Have you guys heard of The Yawg? That's YAWGH, The Yawg. It is an interactive fiction game. It's so simple, but it's kind of complicated to explain. It's a game where there's this town. And in 8 days, the Yawg is going to come and ravage the town. What the Yawg is, it's not explained, and it almost doesn't matter. It's more of like an abstract disaster. And you, in this time, have to make choices about how the characters spend their time. And there's you can play as up to 4 characters. You have to play as at least 2. And there's like a set number of locations. And at each location, each day, you can choose of one of two activities, and during those two activities, you make a choice between one of two outcomes. And these things are all influenced by random number tables, which decide how things come out, and also your stats, which go up and down depending on which activities you do at which locations. Like
This sounds a lot like Frostpunk.
I haven't
in a
played
weird
Frostpunk
way.
yet.
Just like, but like the limited like time process where you can decide, but the end is coming.
Yeah, okay, so I've heard a lot about Frostpunk. My understanding is it's more of like a city building strategy tactic game where you like move units and try to get food and stuff.
Yeah, it is. Go on about your game.
The Yogg, you can beat it in 10 minutes. It's an interactive fiction game, so it's like literally you telling a short story. It's like, the Yogg is coming in 8 days. On day 1, I worked at the tavern. I made 1 gold. On day 2, I worked at the palace, and I increased my mind stat by doing paperwork. On day 3, I went to the gardens, and I meditated, and I increased my magic, right? And then on day 8, the Yogg happens. And then depending on your stats and what role you choose after the Yogg comes, you decide is the city rebuilt? Is the city destroyed? Do you become a great leader? Do you become a jeweler? Are you a vampire? Because one of the things is with the random generation of events, they're pre-authored, but which ones happen is part of an RNG. So it's like if you go to the slums, there's a chance that you'll run into a vampire, and then you get bit, and then that influences the way things happen. So there's like quests. So like, if you go to the gardens, there's a chance someone will sell you a magic bean, and then if you use 2 days to water it, the magic bean hatches into a gnome, and the gnome helps you do one thing. And this game is not infinitely replayable because all the content is authored, but it's extremely replayable. So like you sit down, you play it, and you get to the credits in 10 minutes, and then you play it again.
Austin,
Yeah,
you're talking my language.
it's extremely good. It's like the purest, most video game because it's just about the way choice can affect narrative. It strips away all of the stuff that makes video games less interesting, like killing hundreds and hundreds of dudes for no reason. And it's just about stories and how you can affect them with choices. And it's wild how many different things can happen and how goofy they are. It's funny. It's the art style is really cool. The music's really cool. It's almost perfect in the way some games like Portal are perfect, where it's just like they wanted to do one thing and they just fucking nailed it and moved on. Right? And it's so good. I think it's like $10 on Steam. It's the Yogg. Very cool. I highly recommend it. And I'm done talking about video games for the week. Leon?
I just bought it right now.
Damn, I sold it real well.
I bet you did.
Yeah.
I have a couple things to say, and then I'll shut up because I feel like Johnny hasn't had really a chance to say his stuff this week. Johnny, but actually, before I even do, Johnny, do you have anything like big you want to talk about this week?
Not big, but go on, Leon. Come on.
Oh, all right. Okay, all right, 2 things. First, people definitely can and do change, and that's important to understand. But someone changing is not the same as someone being forgiven, because at some point you have murdered so many innocent people that someone investing in you emotionally is not a reasonable expectation. Your change does not equal your forgiveness just because you went through a late in life dad phase. Second, I have one more story, and it's about straight people.
Oh, God, strap in. Here they go again. The straights are at it again.
Okay, so I usually don't stay up late at conventions, but my friends were up, and I was like, yeah, I should do this. So I stayed up late with my friends in one of their rooms, and then it was like 2 a.m, and I'm like, I gotta go because I have things to do, and I'm supposed to wake up early tomorrow and go to a panel, which I definitely did not go to. I'm sorry, friend who hosted a panel that I wanted to see. But when I had to go to the elevator to go back to my room, where my roommate was already fast asleep, and in the elevator there were 3 dudes, and they said something to me, but I missed it at first, and I like non-reacted to it because I wasn't even sure it was about me, and they said, yeah, I bet. And then I looked over and I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. Could you say that again? He says, yeah, you going to see a honey right now, huh? And I just looked at him and I'm like, no, I'm going to bed. And they're like, mm-hmm. And then I got off the elevator and went into my room and very carefully found my way to my bed so not to disturb my roommate. What's wrong with straight people that they think that... I don't know. What is wrong with straight dudes that they think I'm, like, down for talking about my sex life with you in an elevator? Like, what was their expectation of me in that moment? Were they thinking that this was not only appropriate, but something I would welcome talking about?
Leon, if I saw you in public, right, I would assume you're on the way to crush puss. Because I see you and I think this is the most virile man in all of history. Your masculinity is overwhelming. You are in those guts 24/7. You just can't help yourself. So I feel like it's a very natural question upon seeing you. Maybe not to everyone else. Highly inappropriate, but you specifically.
Shut up your entire face. But no.
What about my face?
I said shut up your entire face. But no, in all seriousness, like, look, I have a few close men friends, and they're basically you. And the rest of my friends are women. And, like, they don't talk to me about... They don't, like, say things like that. They never say things wherein my answer would involve a high five, is what I'm trying to say. And I'm like, were they hoping I would say, yeah, I'm about to, like, do it to a girl and her parts? And then
can't wait to do a sex.
and then what were we going to do? Like, handshake on it and, like, wink?
Yes, there's a traditional coitus dap you have to do.
So gross. Let me be clear. My roommate and I were definitely not going to do anything together. So that I want that to be clear. I was going to my room to sleep. We're just friends. But if I were going to a room with, like, someone for sex, like, it is so bizarre to me that they would think that I would be, like, excited to tell strangers leering at me about it. And apparently that's a thing, but, like, I don't experience that from the men in my life, I guess you could say. So, I don't know. Stop it, is what I'm trying to say. Stop it right now. Everyone. Is really gross and not cool at all. Like, you don't know me. You don't know what I'm about to do. I'm going to sleep. Even if I were about to have a romantic rendezvous with someone in a hotel, why would that be for you? That's not for you at all.
I mean, it is a social convention that overly familiar, playful rudeness is considered somewhat charming. Like, if it's, like, transgressive, like, there is, like, a expectation that, like, men are, like, you know, like, me and my bros, we just call each other mean names, and we're just, you know, we play fight or whatever. It's very homosocial.
But that's different. That's different from, like, we're strangers, like me and these people. We're complete strangers. And also, that is a very intimate question to ask me.
It's not. It's just a little bit of that good old, you know, South Park humor.
Ugh.
I agree with you that people shouldn't say that in public. I'm saying it is a pretty normal social convention for dudes to be casually gross. It's literally where the phrase, like, locker room talk comes from. Although there's a clear line between how that phrase got to public consciousness and the thing you're describing.
Fair enough. But again, I still don't want casual grossness up in my face in an elevator. I felt really uncomfortable because, like, I'm trapped in this elevator with these three people, like, thinking about my organ, and I
can't stop thinking about my organ.
I don't need any of this. This is gross. And I had a nightmare that was almost certainly inspired by this. I had a nightmare immediately afterward that about people being gross in my space related to sex when I don't want it. I had a nightmare right after. I'm sorry we're getting into a dream talk, but like this is related. The nightmare was I was in a house where I was when I was a teenager. There was all these like 30, 40-year-old grown-ass men watching porn in my living room, and I was like, this shouldn't be. why are you here? I wasn't expecting this. I'm going to my room. And then I did. And then one of them came into my room and said, we had a meeting and we've decided we need some of the furniture in your room to put into the living room so we can continue with what we're doing. And I was like, I don't like this. And I thumbed one of them in the eye.
Jesus.
Because
Now who's the
didn't
monster?
fuck him. And all of these imaginary people that don't exist. So yeah, I don't like that, and you need to stop right now.
Leon, I think
it's not.
Listen, the social convention would be if someone says that they're trying to be a little gross for chuckles, and your expected response is like, hell yeah, man. And then no one talks ever again, and you walk away, and you forget each other exists. Like, you're expected to be a little gross back to them, and that's it.
No, I'm not interested in that. I wanted them to feel bad about what they did.
I agree. It's a bad convention, and I don't partake either. It makes me uncomfortable as well. I'm just saying that is the expectation there. That you're not
I know.
to think about
I know they wanted. I know they wanted me to respond in the affirmative, whether it were true or not. I get what I think what they were trying to do, but I didn't like it.
It's like that thing that people say to babies. There's like see a baby boy, and they're like, "You got a girlfriend?" Like, I don't know what it is with straight people.
Ugh, that's disgusting. Why would you do that?
So
Why
extra,
would you
all the time?
stop sexualizing your child and let them figure themselves out?
There's also parents do it to their kids a lot. Like anytime they hang out with someone of the opposite sex, it's like, "Is it your girlfriend?" It's just like people do that. I don't know what it is about our culture. It's a thing. It's weird, but I hope you got through it all right. I don't think they meant anything by it.
Yeah, well, no, they meant to be gross, and that alone is not okay. That's my entire point. I'm not saying that they were trying to I don't know, get an invitation to watch.
No, I mean, if they were trying to trigger a lib, they definitely succeeded.
It's fucking awful.
They got you, though.
It's disgusting, and I feel bad about it. Not about me, but about people now. It's not that I'm like oh, this is, I feel bad. It's more like, now I feel bad about humanity. Thanks. Thanks for that, 3 assholes in an elevator. Where were you going? Where were the 3 of you going at 2 in the morning?
They volunteered at a soup kitchen, you ungrateful fuck. How do you not know their life?
Piece of shit. It's just awful.
Johnny,
so anyway,
are you gonna fuck?
Stop that right
Johnny.
now. Johnny, if you have anything you want to say before we go into questions, go right ahead.
Let's go to questions.
All right.
I'm in those questions, dog. Silent Wind of Doom asks, if Dice Funk had a subtitle after a colon, what would it be? Mine would be Word Funk, the radicalization of Austin Yorsky.
So, I'm sorry. If Word Funk had a subtitle,
Yeah, I think Word Funk, bless this mess, would be a good subtitle.
No, I mean the one I wrote was pretty much burn it all.
Oh.
Word Funk, probably don't.
Could you not?
Yeah, with a question mark. Just leave it really ambiguous about what I'm saying.
Leon's the optimist.
Let's see.
So anyway.
Oh, yeah, that was a
Yeah.
cute little one. Benita Soleil asked, Austin and Johnny, are there any video games you're anticipating? I want to know what to expect you to talk about in spring 2019. I mean, Cyberpunk, obviously. We're anticipating the tits off of that. Anything else, Johnny? Smash Brothers?
I prefer not to talk about Cyberpunk because I get just a little bit excited.
Yeah, we're gonna have to dom you some more if you get too worked up. The new From Software game, Shadows Die Twice. Pretty excited about that. New Fire Emblem. Video games.
I didn't get a chance to talk about it today. But Yakuza finally came to PC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna get to meet Daddy. Kiryu.
I got to play it for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
But I'm glad it's coming back.
Yeah. I'm excited. Let's see. Another question here. Silent Wind of Doom. Is that another one? Yeah, we got two from this one. Do you enjoy the sensation of being scared, whether in a jump scare way or a creeped out vibe? Yeah, you do? I was talking about the It Follows soundtrack earlier, and I don't know why.
Creeped out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I love horror movies, so of course I do. It's horror movies. If a horror movie is like genuinely scary, which is like rare, like not like jump scares, but like you're actually uncomfortable watching it.
Agreed.
Like, not uncomfortable.
Agreed. Jump scares.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
They can be good, but like they have to. There has to be more to it than just like for example, there's a good, like you mentioned, It Follows. There's a good like jump scare. I guess not. Maybe jump scare is the wrong one, but surprise scare in It Follows when the protagonist she's everything seems fine. She opens the door and like the monster is just there and like oh we have to figure out a way out of this room now. And that was good.
That was the scene where her boyfriend's mom.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God! That was so unsettling.
There's that too. The best jump scare, the best jump scare in horror movie history is definitely the one from Exorcist 3. Everyone who's seen that movie probably knows which one I'm talking about. But anyway, I like feeling kind of scared. It's hard to describe why. I guess because. It's a thrill, and also I know that it's not actually going to hurt me. You know, that's what horror movies are. You get to experience the thrill of being scared and having yourself on edge with the knowledge that this is not real at all.
You know what's weird is that I actually am way more comfortable with being creeped out and scared than I am in uncomfortable awkwardness. Like I tried to watch The Disaster Artist recently, and the performances were very interesting and funny, but Tommy Wiseau is such a cringy guy that when they were deep in the scenes where he was being like awkward and not understanding social cues, I was squirming and I had to turn it off. It was so hard for me to sit through because that uncomfortableness is way more relatable than like being stalked by a demon or whatever, which is never going to happen to me. So it's like, oh, it's spooky, but it's like, it's just make-believe fairy stories where I could be at a party and not understand that everyone there thinks I'm weird, you know?
So I'm gonna say right now, extend it onto gameplay. Amnesia: The Dark Descent.
Yeah.
And also Alien Isolation.
The thing about those, and those are very scary games, the thing about that is, though, like, the monster's chasing you, I can just get up and, like, go make a sandwich while the monster kills me and, like, I'll just start at the last checkpoint. It's hard to make it where the fear feels like it's real enough because there's a cost to dying. I think Dark Souls does this very well. Bloodborne is basically a horror game because if a monster gets you, you're going to lose an hour of progress and you have to get back to your blood echoes.
So that's your horror.
Yeah.
An hour of progress.
Yes, you're literally taking my life away. It's my time on this earth. In Amnesia, if I get caught, I go back 30 seconds around the corner. In Bloodborne, it's like, I gotta go through this entire thing again. Yes.
Austin.
Yeah.
Come visit me in Vancouver. And put my Oculus Rift on your head.
Oh, okay, that's a different kind of horror. That's just your body being scared.
And play Alien Isolation.
Yeah, now that's a different thing that we're talking about now. That's just because I am a dumb ape. I'm a scared anxiety monkey, and you're gonna scare my body. Please.
It's so good.
We got another question here. Cyretha asks, Leon, who is your favorite announcer? Who is your less liked announcer, current or past? Parentheses.
So.
Okay.
I can't remember the last
Fuck
part.
Fuck off!
Okay. All time, I guess, like, the obvious answer is Jim Ross. He's, like, largely considered the best play-by-play guy, like, maybe ever. Right now, I'm not a big fan of him because I'm not trying to be a dick, but he's getting old. He doesn't really have the energy and enthusiasm quite as much anymore, and that's like completely understandable. I'm not like trying to dunk on him. Like I get it. But like I mostly see him do New Japan shows, and it is very clear dozens of times during every show that Jim Ross does for New Japan that he doesn't really watch the shows or know a lot about the wrestlers. He gets a lot of names wrong and things like that. And again, like, he doesn't have to. He's Jim Ross. He's made his money. He's at this point, he's just paid to show up and be Jim Ross and like spin like cool Southern sounding stories through his words. So like, again, I'm not trying to shit on him, but I'm not that big of a fan of him right now. So right now, it's probably Mauro Ranallo. He does WWE's NXT play-by-play. He's excellent. He also does like legitimate sports. He does a lot of boxing and stuff. Like, he was the play-by-play guy for Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor, for example. So yeah, that's probably it now.
Johnny.
Yeah.
Do you have any feelings about Wrestle Boys?
I do, but not about the guys, not about the boys who call them.
Okay, well, I don't care about that shit. Fuck that. We gotta get the announcers. All right.
Next question!
Next question. I'm gonna read the question first, then the name. Question is it ethical to Twitter bully Elon Musk? That's a question by Elon Misky. I don't know if you guys are aware of this Spartacus shit where everyone on Twitter is doing an Elon Musk parody account. I'm partial to French Elon Musk, but I'm open to Italian Elon Musk.
I've heard that apparently putting Elon Musk into your Twitter name is grounds for an immediate ban.
Yep, that is true.
I send the baguette to the moon and I don't pay the taxes.
Okay. It depends on what you mean by bullying Elon Musk over Twitter. If you're just going out of your way to at Elon Musk, like, fuck you, I hate your mom, or whatever, then yeah, that's kind of shitty to do, I guess. But if Elon Musk says something dumb or insensitive or shitty, and you respond with, hey,
blocks unions.
Yeah, or if Elon Musk tweets, unions are bad,
but
like that's
Tesla workers don't want to do it because frozen yogurt stations in the factories.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: nobody on Twitter has the power to bully Elon Musk. No one has any power leverage on him. None of us are his boss. None of us can tax him.
There's a huge power dynamic difference there.
It's punching up, and that's okay.
I mean, you can be shitty.
Hey, guess what, billionaire? You're being an asshole.
No, billionaire is a slur. He said, quote, people...
I'm sorry. Multi-millionaire?
Did you hear that quote where he said, like, it's weird, people didn't call me a billionaire until my company was very successful. Like, yeah, it's a weird, it's a slur they're using now that comes out of nowhere, and I don't know what it means. You fucking dork, you fucking absolute goober. Do you see on Twitter earlier today, as of this recording, someone asked him like his opinion on video games because he's starting, I guess, some kind of video game initiative.
Yeah, he wants them to fucking design video games like right in the front of his car, like while I'm driving, I may as well fucking play Asteroids.
You know why?
That sounds great.
You know why? It's because the video game industry isn't unionized. Because it's like one of the last places that he can extract excess value from capital. Anyway, the thing I was going to say was today, he said, oh, I love BioShock, which is... so perfect. That feel when you try to take down libertarianism and they don't realize that you're making fun of them.
Yeah.
I like BioShock too.
Yeah, I mean, the first Bioshock is the bad guy is an Ayn Rand character, basically. So it's the exact kind of person who skewers Elon Musk's beliefs. But then later, like, in order to have balance and be like, tell both sides, Bioshock 2 is the opposite, and it's basically a leftist villain. And then Bioshock Infinite is like, what if everybody's wrong? What if both sides have good people? So Bioshock is like the essential Elon Musk series, really. First it goes over his head, and then it bends over backwards to do both sides shit. I like the guns and the stuff, but the series politically is a fucking mess, and they deserve each other.
Yeah, I'm still down with Spec Ops: The Line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Bioshock. I did like what was the game that people compared it to, but it was but everyone thought it was worse.
It's like
I thought it
the
was
Conduit or the it's
Singularity.
Yeah, I knew it was like a one word thing. Yeah, Singularity's good as hell.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's basically how I feel. Don't go. You probably shouldn't go out of your way to be shitty to people in general, but also Elon Musk is just constantly saying shitty things. And we should call him out for it. That's not the same thing as saying it.
How did we not talk about on the show the fact that he tried to do a publicity stunt on the backs of children trapped in a cave, and then he got mad that they didn't need him, and he called one of the guys a pedophile?
He's digging such a fucking hole for himself. Yeah. And it's like, every single time he says something, people are looking further into him and being like, oh, hey, so you're not actually a billionaire. You have, like, tons of government money, but you're against unions because socialism is bad, but you have government money.
But he says, I identify as a socialist. I just give all my money to the Republican Party so that they'll listen to me. Also, I used to.
Next.
I really like Grimes. Why you gotta do me like that, Grimes? I liked your music and you did me like this? It's fucked up.
You owe Austin so much.
I'm obviously kidding.
Let's please move on.
I'm just saying it's wild how much he keeps fucking up. It's bananas.
I know.
Okay, here's a.
It's because he knows there are no consequences to what he does, so it doesn't matter to him that he keeps fucking up.
I used to like him, you know.
I know. I remember you were like, cool car space, and I was like,
It was like, yeah, you know, like, spend your money, go to space, do these things, like, you have the opportunity, do it. But then he's like, yeah, but people on Earth, nah, fuck them. And I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
does he still think we're living in a simulation?
He doesn't think anything. He just says stuff.
Okay. Right. Did you guys read that article that his ex-wife?
Yeah, he's a fucking sociopath.
Yeah, he's a bad person.
Utterly.
Anyway,
but that's the same thing, right? It's the fucking what's the other guy? My brain just turned off. The guy who fucked over a Tesla.
Edison.
Yeah, Edison. It's like the whole thing where it's like, oh, he does good science, so we love him. It's like, oh, but he's a actual piece of shit.
No, he didn't. Like, he bought everything.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a company, and there were scientists in his company. True. He didn't do all of the things.
I'm just saying, people there's this kind of people who are like, I love science.
Thomas Edison.
But science isn't
hot take.
Science isn't just cool things. Science is a process. Science is money. Science is people putting in work. And Elon Musk benefits from people who have a surface appreciation of science, but don't understand the ways in which corporations are taking public funds to make science profitable only for them. In a functioning society, all the money that goes to Tesla in grants would be used by NASA to do science for the public good. Oh, so yes, it's cool when we send things to space, but we should do it for everybody and not to enrich one man.
But Austin, don't you know that, like, public money goes to people who don't deserve it?
Fuck off. Anyway.
The real answer to this, if you need to, like, to yell, explain it real quick.
I do need to tilder. Please tilder me.
Yeah. If you need to do that, responding to someone being bad by telling them they're bad is not the same as someone being bad. And I really hate that kind of false equivalency. Well, if you like tell someone they're bad, then you're.
Leon, I'm gonna jump in here and say this right here.
Yeah.
Tolerance for intolerance is not tolerance.
Yeah,
like it's not.
but...
Accepting somebody else's bad ideas doesn't mean you're an accepting person.
There was literally that viral, I think it was a Fox News segment, where one of the hosts said being called racist is the worst thing that can happen to someone. It doesn't even require commentary. Anyway, we're almost out of time.
Yeah, we can do another one.
Here's an easy one. I have an answer already, but
from my calculations, we got 10 minutes.
Stuff's happening, Johnny. Question at Egregious Knives on Twitter asks, of the movies you've seen so far in 2018, which one is the most must-see? Sorry to bother you.
Sorry to bother you.
Yeah.
First Reformed. That's my favorite movie of the year. Maybe 3 or 4 films that I know that are going to be like in my favorite movie kind of list if I do that. There's just been a lot of movies that have just been fine. The rest of them, like I liked Avengers: Infinity War, but it's not like a great film. It's just like a cool spectacle.
It's an amazing monument, also to movie making.
Okay.
Like an architecture, if you will.
Okay.
I won't, but go on.
To get there.
All right. All right, next, I guess.
All right, Indigo Van Dane asks, assuming it's done right, which TV show would you like to see redone? I have an answer for this one, too. The question asker says they vote for Columbo. I've never seen it. Battlestar Galactica. Can we actually get a show that builds to a proper ending? Maybe? Best show ever made, except to the part where it's very, very, very bad. I would like to see it good from beginning to end. That's my answer.
Yeah, but they did that right. Like, they had everything from beginning to end, and that was what they wrote.
I know, it was a mistake, and they did it bad. here's my critique. It wasn't good, so they should do it good.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. Trying to think of a show that was almost good, but just wasn't. Because I'd rather not just reboot a show that I already like because it's been there.
Yeah, it's a lot of people say Firefly. It's like
I'm okay with continuing like an old show, but just like starting over from the beginning if it was already great. I don't know. I guess it depends on if you have like a new take on it.
Yeah, I would definitely kill for more Hannibal, but I don't want them to start over from the beginning. I love the Hannibal we have.
I would like you know what? I would like a Xena where it's not subtext and they're just like two ladies who love each other and also fight.
What if they just called it Gay Xena and it was just like, yeah, that's right, motherfuckers, it's gay as hell. And they just like really played it up.
They wanted to do that and it got it was in like development and now it's dead.
Oh, cowards.
Yeah. Right, yeah, that's basically it. So that is what I want. I want Xena to be back and not have like the jankiest ass CG ever. And also not like wink to the camera like it just they just love each other and they're good. Instead of like having everyone flesh it out in fan fiction. Yeah.
Also, it couldn't hurt to just take another run at Iron Fist. Just pretend the one that exists it was all just a test run. Just do that one over again, maybe.
Nah.
Johnny, got it? You got the answer?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Sean Cassidy's American Gothic.
Haven't seen it.
22 episodes, 1995, I think. It started. I posted a link in the chat. This was just one of the most like. I wish I could talk to you guys about this show without giving shit up. But basically, Gary Cole stars as a sheriff. of a small town, Trinity, South Carolina. And he
Johnny, you can just go ahead. I'm reading the Wikipedia. I'm spoiling myself now. Like, it's fine.
It's beautiful. It's such a great show. Like, it's just like it is past what the X-Files needed to be, just in the right Twin Peaks zone.
What if they remade the X-Files and every mystery turned out to be just some guy trying to make money? Like, every single plot was just like, damn it, I was trying to get away with this fucking scheme to just make a lot of money. Every episode.
That wouldn't be a good show, Austin.
That would be Scooby-Doo.
Leon,
yeah, that's just
you
Scooby-Doo.
have to see this show.
Oh my god, that is just Scooby-Doo.
It is.
Leon, you have to see this show.
Oh my god, I have too many shows, Johnny. No.
No, man. All right, look. If you like the X-Files as much as you do, you have
I'm not
to
even
see
finished the X-Files.
No, it's fucking not. I've seen both, and I
said I'm not even
one of
finished.
these shows.
Yeah.
And it's American Gothic, so you have to watch this.
All right. I will as soon as I'm done the X-Files. I'm I have like 4 more seasons. Years later.
God damn it, Leon! I finished Deep Space Nine last week.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I burned through that again too. Like, I just ripped through it. But like, yeah, it's different.
I'm already in season 3 of Voyager, and I don't like Voyager that much.
Yeah. I like plenty of it, but you know, it's not good to watch right after Deep Space Nine.
I like Chakotay. I like fucking Janeway. I like Roxanne Dawson.
Paris.
I can't remember her name. I like Tom
B'Elanna.
Paris. Yeah, B'Elanna Torres.
Yeah, the characters are good. I like the characters.
Yeah.
It's that they didn't always have the best stories for the characters to do.
No, they did not.
Yeah. I like the Doctor. I like all the
Robert
characters.
Picardo is the best. He's one of my
he's wonderful.
He's one of my favorite Star Trek characters of all time.
Oh yeah, not even the Doctor, just Robert Picardo.
Yeah,
is the best. No, but yeah, no, I feel you. You should watch Voyager right after watching Enterprise to make it seem better. So yep, that's it. We're probably running low on time, unless there's like a real quick one.
Not really. I think we're pretty much good on this episode, unless you guys want to talk about this question from Cyretha, who asks, is The Rock the best movie Michael Bay ever made? And no, it's Bad Boys 2, followed by Pain and Gain. But if you guys have any strong Michael Bay takes...
I have my favorite Michael Bay movie is Nun. So
I really wish he made a movie about a nun called Nun, and she just goes around shooting dudes, but we don't live in that beautiful world.
If I had to choose, it would be The Rock.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If I of the Michael Bay films I've seen, that I still think that movie is shit. I'm sorry, but it's competent. It's so competently made compared.
And the cast
to,
is just so nice to watch.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it was a good cast. I guess. I mean, I don't like Sean Connery. I'm sorry. I hate him.
Personally or actor-wise?
He's bad.
Just all around.
No, he's yeah. Like in general, I don't like his performances, and I also just don't like him as a person. And I don't like James Bond so much that since he's like the original James Bond, I don't know.
More like the League of Extraordinary Daddy.
Ugh. You stop. All right, let's leave. Anything you guys want to say real quick before we go? Besides Extraordinary Daddy,
did you know that American Gothic was actually designed by Sean Cassidy?
You told me.
Like
just now.
Like the teen pop idol from the 70s?
He apparently he created a number of television series, including Roar, which was, as I recall, a fantasy show that lasted 1 season, starring Heath Ledger.
Yeah, but did you know that he reached #1 on the U.S. Billboard by singing "Do Run Run"?
Johnny, we're just reading his Wikipedia right now. We aren't even needed for this, so let's go.
Watch American Gothic. Okay, and to be clear, all right, the 1995 one, not the one that has what's his name from
Sean Connery.
No, not
The point is, it's a completely unrelated show that just happens to have the same name. Yeah.
No, it's got
Just look it up on Wikipedia, Johnny. You're already there. We all know
No, I'm on IMDb right now.
Oh, that's the bad one. It stars Juliette Rylance, and Anthony Starr, and Justin Chatwin, Megan Ketch as Tessa Ross, the younger sister and wife of Brady, according to Wikipedia. Why does anyone not go anywhere else?
Now that your rose